gateway drug. Somebody has to tell Willie Nelson about that because I think he missed that memo.
Yeah.
I think in that's when you're talking about that situation, I believe that is a matter of personality. I don't think that is a matter of substance. You can replace that substance with anything else, and that person will most likely become addicted to some sort of substance. Some people have addictive tendencies.
Right.
As far as cannabis use, I've met so many people who actually have come off of different things that they've been addicted to because of cannabis. You know what I mean? We're finding more and more people coming off of the pharmaceuticals because of cannabis, because of marijuana. So
I know at least 2 or 3 at one point, at this point, recovering alcoholics who were really, like bad blackout drunks, like wife beating, child forgetting.
And not remembering any of it the next day.
Car accident having, like I said, blackout drunks who gave up alcohol and now they smoke marijuana on either a daily or a semi-daily basis, and their lives are certainly far improved from forgetting the last 8 hours of every day.
That you just posed a very good point right there. Quality of life. That's what we're talking about. Quality of life. All right. If we're going to have a substance that we know, like alcohol, who people do self-medicate with. But it takes away such a quality of life from the people who do choose to use that. Now, you were just speaking of all the different things that can happen while you're under the influence. But then you have to talk about the negative effects of after you've been on the influence. You have the next day to worry about. You have years to come to worry about with your liver damage, all this internal damage that you do into your body, esophageal damage, stomach ulcers, things of that nature that people with alcoholism get. Cannabis. The next day, you have no side effects. You really don't, except for maybe your day before was a little bit easier, so you're waking up in a better mood. That's really your side effects.
Well, and I think you hit on it where it's a personality issue, and I hate to say that the addictive personality, but what we're finding scientifically now is that drugs are not addictive. People are.
Yes.
We have, we're starting to understand brain mechanisms and brain structures, the pathways of the brain that lead to addiction more and more every single day. I mean, this is science that's growing by leaps and bounds almost on a daily basis. And this is the information that we're getting is drugs in and of themselves are not addictive. It's the people who have the predilection that those particular neural pathways in their brains that are going to be more predisposed to not only drugs but sex, gambling, food.
Behaviors. Any behaviors can be addictive as well.
Self-destructive behaviors like people who cut themselves or self-mutilate.
But even positive behaviors that you would suspect to be positive, like exercise. There's people that are addicted to exercise.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean?
Nobody at this table, but there's people.
No, not currently, but I mean...
I get plenty of exercise, pushing my luck, jumping in conclusions.
But yes, I mean, this is something that we do have to make clear, because addiction doesn't necessarily mean a substance. All right? Addiction can be anything that you feel you need to make it through your day, to be yourself. That is the issue.
And I think that's a great point, because when we talk about it in this light, it's not a thing that becomes addictive. It's a behavior.
Yes.
Whether it's turning out like watching Oprah. If every day like, oh my God, I got to get home so I can watch Oprah.
My girl, it's Ellen.
Yeah. So like you DVR it or think about this too. We're going to talk about addictive behaviors. The idea that quote binge watching is now a thing.
Yeah.
And I'm guilty, man. I'll tell you that Daredevil show came out on Netflix. Goodbye weekend.
Yes.
It was it. It was like I got a bowl of dip and a bag of chips, and like I ordered a couple of pizzas. I didn't cook. I didn't.
It was
when did
just
the sun
come up?
One after the other, and I fell asleep in the middle of one episode and got up the next morning and just like zipped it right back and started it all over.
No,
again.
that's a perfect example, because that's not something where there was any substance involved. You did that on your own behalf.
Right. That was for quote my own entertainment.
Exactly. So now that we have, that established now with people where it's all about choice making, well, not all about, but it's very strongly about choice making and your own behaviors. Why do you make that behavior? Why do you need to fill that void? There's got to be a reason behind it. It's not the substance or the behavior in itself. There's bigger reasons behind it. So let's look at that instead of the actual substance.
And the tired old adage is, if there was a heroin vending machine downstairs, would you go downstairs and take some heroin? And 95% of people will say, well, no, I wouldn't do that. And no amount of legislation is going to change that.
Well, that kind of brings you back to the whole, child usage of cannabis. People who believe that the use will go up if it's legalized among children. We're finding that that's not exactly the case because, like you were saying, if it's just available, they have the choice.
Yeah.
They have the choice. Now, another thing is when you take something away from a child, you tell them, no, they can't do anything, they're going to want to do it even more. Then you add, again, I've said this before, you add in the fact that we're Americans in general. You tell us, no, you can't do that.
Oh, yeah?
We will fight. We don't even
the
have to
hell
know
I can't.
We don't even have to know what we can't do. We know we don't want you to tell us we can't do it.
Yeah.
So,
well, and I think so. We have this, my personal life philosophy is, or one of my many personal life philosophies is everything in moderation, including moderation.
Exactly.
If you don't blow off steam and go off the edge once in a while, I think you're setting yourself up for just a massive mental breakdown at some point in life. And do we really want our government, who has really proven over and over and over again that they frankly do not have our best interests in mind, to tell us what moderation is? Should we not have that? And I know I'm delving from the Green Party over into the libertarian ethos here, but shouldn't we as individuals, as people, be able to say, where that line is for ourselves?
The individual, the people, should be able to say. When somebody else tries to tell us what we can or can't do, it takes away our basic human rights to a certain extent. Right. All right? Of course, there's different circumstances that are just natural human law. Don't steal. Don't kill. Those are such things that, yes, it's a good idea to keep those things right up there. But
generally, don't be a dick to people.
Exactly. Don't be an ass. Yeah. Be good. Be good. But as far as when you can use this plant, for what reason you can use this plant, that sounds absolutely ridiculous to me.
Right.
It sounds absolutely... I don't see how you can be told how you can use a certain... It's not even a product. It literally is a plant that grows out of the ground.
Naturally occurring.
Well,
and this, we talked about this for a bit with Melissa Bouchard from the Compassion Center. Mm-hmm. It's always just boggled my imagination that industrial hemp and their more potent cousins are lumped together in the same drug schedule when it's like, wait a second, I know plenty of farmers here in Rhode Island. I mean, agriculture, one of the few bright spots of the economy, one of the growing sectors of our economy here in the state. I know plenty of farmers that would love to have a plant that they can plant that would grow quickly. Actually serves to remediate soil, helps to build nutrients in soil, build soil structure, that they can then cut down and sell as a building material, something to make textiles, something to throw in insulation, something that, there's this thing called hempcrete now, which I think is one of the coolest things, where it actually increases the tensile durability of concrete while actually making it lighter.
Yes.
Which is amazing to say that you can add this fast-growing, highly renewable plant into something that's heretofore been an environmental disaster to produce, which is formed and molded concrete, and create a stronger, more environmentally friendly and easier to transport product.
Improved upon it.
Right.
Something that we've been using for ages has now been improved upon with something that we stopped using so long ago.
And for less than upfront reasons, for specious reasons.
But the reason being is, how scary to some people can sustainability be? if you really think about it, sustainability, real sustainability, as far as, hemp agriculture, how scary can that be to people who already have that money coming in?
Right.
But with hemp, on the economic side of that, it's such a scary, horrible Class 1 drug, yet, well, if you want to buy it, you just import it from other countries.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. And I've made this point before. America, as far as industrial hemp has gone, for too long has said no to not drugs. It is actually legal. You can farm hemp in the United States, but you have to get a dispensation from the Drug Enforcement Agency, and good luck with that.
Exactly. Now, what I find funny about that is, and you probably, of course, can back me up on this, what was our major crop as this country was binded together?
Hemp.
Thank you. Our forefathers, their agriculture was basically mostly based on...
Our first currency was printed on hemp.
Yeah.
Hemp. All right? If you had a certain amount of land, you were pretty much made to grow it because it was that substance that we depended on for a reason.
Right.
So many uses back then. Now that we have this technology that we're using now, we're finding more and more things, but we don't have that access.
Yeah.
We don't have that access that we should have. We could be so far more in advance.
Let's talk about the petroleum. Biofuels. I mean, hemp is one of the best producers of plant-based oils for biofuels.
Yes.
I mean, so if we're going to be serious about getting off petroleum, getting away from these fossil fuels, hemp has a huge part to play in this.
But again, how serious are we? What do we? I mean,
you and I are pretty serious about.
But I'm talking as
the royal we.
Exactly,
yeah.
The royal we, the ones who again tell us what's good and what's bad.
The owners of Hanes, not so much.
right, or the owner of ExxonMobil, Chevron,
exactly.
Any of these.
These people have money that has been rolled through our country for a long time. It has been money that has been calculated. It has been money that has been put in statistics, and it is basically foolproof. And it's already going into the hands that they want it to go into.
Right.
That's the issue.
So let's talk about the money aspect of this. So there's the money aspect of industrial hemp, where the folks who are making money off the quote alternatives to using hemp,
yes.
whether it be paper or biofuels or cover crops or corn, soybeans, all these so-called commodity crops. There's folks that are making money off those, like ExxonMobil, like Monsanto, like these giant companies. There are the pharmaceutical companies that are making money off of quote synthetics,
yes.
synthetic drugs that basically do the same thing as cannabis would do for a patient, with far more detrimental side effects.
Well,
there are the people who are making money off of the law enforcement and incarceration aspects of cannabis, prohibition.
Yes.
To me, I look at that and I say, well, the money is the thing here. These people do not want to give up their revenue streams, and that's really where their fight comes from. It's not for any kind of justice or what's right or what's good for our children or good for our society.
You've nailed it right on the head. Right on the head.
And again, you look at it through just those three things: industrial use, pharmaceutical, prison complex.
Correct.
It's just the amount of money in those three things, and concentrated really in the hands of a very, very few people in the United States.
The select, and those are the ones that are so afraid of this becoming available for everyone.
And those are the ones that are basically purchasing politicians. They're buying campaigns. Yes. They're buying favors. Folks, it's time for us to open our eyes. And money makes the world go round. And in the United States, nothing has ever been truer as far as our political landscape goes, as far as the will of the politicians is. It's all about, what have you done for me lately?
Exactly.
How much did you donate to my campaign?
A good example is, look at our Food and Drug Administration. Look at all the people that are in charge of our food. It's strangely similar names I find in that also ran Monsanto.
Right.
Wait a second. Our company that we use, a company, not an organization or a company that we use to make our chemical weapons and poisons, slid over to our food.
Right.
As our friends
Agent Orange, folks.
As
Yes.
our friends at